What is going on, guys? Sim1Wolf Legends here, back with another top 10 list for y'all, and that doesn't like come out of nowhere, but I've always started doing this type of list, honestly, and with the news of the Big Brother around the corner, I figured, why the hell not do some Big Brother content? Because those who don't know, I love the reality show Big Brother. Well, the show definitely had a lot of its ups and a lot of its downs. It's one of those shows that if it gets bad, it can get really bad. But once it gets great, it gets really great. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Today, I'm here to talk about what, in my opinion, the top 10 best weeks of Big Brother. And I'm going to talk about the US version, as I do plan on doing a separate list for Big Brother Canada at some point as well. And this week is we're just talking about the US seasons. And look back at every single week in all these 24, all the seasons of the Big Brother US, and which one of those weeks stand out the most? Which one had the best moments, the best character moments, the best moves in the game, the most exciting moments, overall just how entertaining and rewatchable they are. And yeah, there definitely have been some good weeks in Big Brother with some incredibly memorable moments. So that is what we are going to talk about today, people. Today. And I hope you all enjoyed this list. Again, this is just my personal opinion, why I personally are the best weeks of Big Brother US, and I would definitely love to know what are your favorite weeks of Big Brother down below in the comments. And again, eventually I do plan on doing one separately on Big Brother Canada at some point, so stay tuned with that. And also let me know what videos on Big Brother you want me to see me do down below. So, enough beyond the bush. Let's get to the list, shall we? But of course, before we do get to the actual top 10, let's discuss the honorable mentions. Weeks are still fantastic, they just did not make the list itself. And the honorable mentions are Week 3 from Big Brother 20, Week 8 from Big Brother 18, Week 1 from Big Brother 10, Week 5 from Big Brother 13, Week 7 from Big Brother 11, Week 5 from Big Brother 21, Week 2 from Big Brother 16, Week 5 from Big Brother 9, Week 6 from BB8, and the week that just missed the list itself, Week 6 from BB6. And all still great weeks, they just did not make the list itself, but I still do enjoy all these weeks, so again, let's get to the actual list, shall we? Now, coming in at number 10 is Week 4 from Big Brother 24. Oh boy, one interesting book. We're after the craziness of Week 3, basically an alliance some people actually decided to ban against the opposition alliance, or the main alliance, opposed to the main alliance of the game. People that could probably either just take control and just make it to the end, and just steamroll like in most seasons of Big Brother. We don't really get that. You have a big power player. And that kind of continues here, honestly, but I think they could either been boring, but the circumstances behind it are hilarious. And basically, this week also had like this Bessie twist. Basically, people compete in pairs, and we got Monty winning HOH. And of course, there was a big plan to kind of vote out Nicole, but she was partnered up with Taylor, who of course was enemies. Taylor did not want that since she was nominated twice previous weeks, which was a weird thing, but it was understandable. So she basically said by the nominee like Alyssa and Indy, then Dana and Kyle won the vetoes, and the plan was actually for them not to use it. As I was telling everybody when they should use the veto now, which makes for some fun moments, but I'm just like, I think it's not to use any insight to let Dana know that, hey, you should not use this veto, because Nicole was going to be. Nicole is going to be put up with Taylor, and I don't think the numbers are there to keep her in the house. I mean, look at any like normal people, they would be like, oh, okay, I want to use it. But then it's like, ha, I see you're tricking me, so if you don't think I shouldn't, I'm definitely going to use it. Yet that actually happens. They were literally told not to use it because you could be going home. And yet he decides to do it anyway because Monty was playing mind games with him. Which, I think that alone puts us in the top 10 honestly. That is just so hilarious. Like, oh my god, again, especially I really can't stand Daniel Nicole, honestly, especially Daniel, because then you see his actions in real life, or how he's been acting since this show. I kind of download makes it where Daniel basically ended up unintentionally backdooring his own ally. Basically, he used to be basically he got used to be to enlist an Indy, and put Nicole and Taylor, and Nicole got evicted. And we could have just been boring, and it become so goddamn entertaining. It's insane. Like, wow. And now we have to get to another week 4 at number 9, and that is week 4 of Big Brother 12. And another week that probably could, we really like, kind of feel like just a typical boring week, honestly. Basically, the brigade still dominates, honestly, and by Rachel winning each race by one, the brigade members being put up because one of the guys' love interests of the season ended up going home that season, which ended up being like an easy vote. Like, of course, I think what pushes this week in the top 10, honestly, is pretty much Rachel herself. Again, I don't know if I said this before, but Rachel's a character I've always found to be very conflicting, honestly. Like, I know there's a lot of people that love her so much, but I've always been stuck in the never know how to feel about it. It's like the moments where I do love her as a character and do think she's actually hilarious and awesome to watch. And there's the moments that just, and there honestly, there's moments about her that just make me so frustrated at her with her actions and everything and how she acts. Like, I'm obviously sure she's like a great person in real life, but when it comes to reality television, in my opinion, she really has, it's like so up and down in terms of how entertaining she can be and how much she actually do enjoy her. But there's definitely ones where I do enjoy, honestly, because, I mean, she got her hang line in Florida's Crab Life Fest, and it has that iconic fight with Chris. I think not one thing more with that fight alone makes this the top 10, because it makes that so entertaining with that back and forth throughout the week, and Rachel wanted to get rid of Kristen, in spite of that not really that shouldn't be in their best interest if you really think about it. And you do get some nice back and forth between all that, and some interactions, everyone's just like enjoying the fight and enjoying everything that's going on. And the vote is probably an easy vote, because it was pretty evident that Kristen was going to go home, honestly, which doesn't make me any surprising, but that fight alone and everything that happens during the week with the fights and the interactions with all the players and everything, alone puts this week in the top 10. Now, at number 8 on this list, we have week 11, the final 6th round of Big Brother 17. Since this season has always been very up and down for me in terms of how I should feel about it, at least in terms of some characters and some weeks in general. Like, it's just I still enjoy overall, but it definitely has its up and downs, honestly, that's for sure. And this is definitely one of the highest of the season, where it basically gets some interesting stuff. Basically, we see Steve winning HOH and tried to make a move on the Oz twins, honestly, when he feels like they probably shouldn't have done that soon, if we really be honest. Like, first time people wait till like late in the game to make big moves. That's always weird, honestly, if you're thinking about it. And of course, we get a lot of action from all that, and then being upset at Steve about that and everything. And of course, we get the Icon View competition, where it could have been just an easy thing where basically only ones that Julie wanted Julie to just win HOH, and she probably could have won, honestly. Once she definitely could have won, which makes things pretty interesting. And of course, you get the Icon mode. We can see what you roll with Vanessa as a player, and I definitely Vanessa's not a player I'm always conflicted about, honestly. Mostly because she's also a very emotional player. She can make some pretty fantastic moves, honestly, in this season. I mean, she'll be the best player in the season for a goddamn reason. But she basically convinced Julia to go against Austin. You know, it's like, hey, pick Austin. And then just like, Vanessa's like doing this, like, if that happened, it would be the best thing ever. And it did, like Julia picked Austin, and then Austin ended up going on to win the veto. Which obviously upset the twins, especially Liz, which led to a lot of interesting stuff at the aftermath and everything, and maybe there's some interesting fun drama throughout the season that Vanessa actually pulled this move off. And then we cool, like, that move alone puts this week in top 10. You get some very entertaining back and forth, some pretty emotional stuff here, and it makes for an all-around fantastic week. Now we get to my number 7, where we actually got a first week on this list, actually, which, again, I also had week 1 in our mentions. Then I'll get to what is arguably the craziest first week in the history of Big Brother, and that is the first week of Big Brother 23. Yeah, Big Brother 3 has always been an interesting season, especially if you're on top about like all the stuff like going later in the season about the Cookout Alliance and everything, but it definitely had fantastic, probably one of the first great couple of weeks in the history of the show. Like the first weekend is just fantastic, and a lot of it's just about that friendship. The winner H is such a terrible godforsaken player. Like usually the first week is always the. They always said that the first week of Big Brother is always the most important week to establish your alliance, establish the power structure and everything. Eventually, Ben just threw that away, promising these people, that people, promises that they will be safe, made some acceptable assumptions and targets that he wanted to get on, and eventually winning the veto or winning that competition, wild competition. Like he wanted Brent out, but Brent actually taunted him, was like, getting up at me. I was like, okay. It was a Christian. Then he ended up winning up being safe in that wild competition. And then he ends by promising that he won't put a woman up, they won't put a black person up. That's exactly what he did. He did, honestly, and then if they're talking with ended up being Derek X, which he ended up winning the veto, he saved Kyland. And then his original target, Travis, ended up being put up. And someone who, one of the examples of a first week that really didn't do anything wrong in the game, if you really think about it. Really, if you think about it, Travis really did. Is one of those first weeks that I really didn't do anything wrong to get voted out, honestly. And because Frenchie's just mad gameplay for the season where he just did this and did that and just flunked it all up. Like, it's kind of insane if you really think about it. All the back and forth that he did, all the changes and all this stuff to his plans and false promises. And all that eventually did lead to him getting evicted next week. Because of course he did. So, yeah. Yeah, we had the greatest first weeks in the show, but I think Big Brother 22 will always be the craziest first week if you really think, and I don't think any week's gonna top it. Now, coming in at number 6, we have week 3 from Big Brother 7 All-Stars. Now, of course, I know we're actually put on All-Stars 1 week from the All-Stars season on this list because it's one of my favorite seasons of the show. Like, those definitely debate on what week I wanted to put on the list of All-Stars. Like, I easily could have done, like, the Queso episode, the Marcellus one, the Hallie one, and how I could have put Was Blindside on this list. One of them working Blindside on this list. Like, there were a lot of good weeks in this season, if you can't tell. But if I had to pick the one that's definitely the most memorable, I would also go week 3, where James actually won an HOH competition, which he did not win maybe 6. Put up Will and George for some reason. George ended up winning the veto, which started the reign of at least one of the nominees getting the veto, and then Will being the excellent, immaculate mastermind that he is. And this is thinking that Will is definitely one of the best players to ever be a Big Brother. And this kind of shows her basically, it's like, hey, George, don't use veto. Like, I hate you all. You're all terrible. Don't use veto. Vote me out. And George did himself, put up Jace. And somehow Jace got it unanimously. I think I shouldn't play any more why this week is on this list because of how insane that is. And now we have another week to be on this list, probably one of the most iconic weeks in Big Brother history. And that is week 3 from Big Brother 6. I'm not sure whether people would like it to be in the top. I mean, he's at least in the top 5 at least. Because I'm gonna guess no, I do think Big Brother 6 is a great season, but I don't think it's like a top tier season like some people make it out to be. Maybe because I never was huge on the Friendship Alliance, honestly. Never was huge on Maggie, never was huge on Yvette, April, and they ended up being pretty fun this seasons. And I think that's probably why I wasn't ever huge on BB6. When I first watched it, I was never like in high love with it, though. Obviously, it does have some fantastic characters and some iconic players. I mean, you got Janelle here, and you got Howie, James, Kaser. How Kaser is kind of what makes this week so great. Like, Kaser definitely has had up and down history in the show, honestly, and how he didn't even hasn't made even the freaking jury yet in his 3 times on the show. But Kaser is definitely a great. But he honestly, basically, he tried to pull the trigger and make big moves, honestly, and that's what he did. But he put on Maggie James, and we ended up getting a fun future competition with James ends up winning, and of course he gets the iconic move where he says, "No, I steal your partner's fate." Where he basically blindsided Eric. And then, after a crazy up and down week on who's going to go home, Eric ends up getting voted out. Like, and why joining this thing? Why do I need to say why this week is on this list? It's iconic for a reason. And while it's definitely not like in the top 4 at least, I still think it's a fantastic week of the show, and definitely has the show's most iconic moments with that badass line and Kaser being Kaser and a lot of the back and forth throughout this week. It's iconic. And now, coming in at number 4, we have week 2 from Big Brother 20. Now, of course, I knew a week from Big Brother 20 was going to make this list. The question is, I always debate on which week of Big Brother 20 was going to make this list, because 2020 had some fantastic ideas. Like, week 1 and that same week where basically Kayla ended up basically like blindside, ended up basically turning on her own alliance because Tyler said to do so, and Tyler successfully manipulating her to do so. I freaking week 3 on this list where basically the Low 6 Alliance actually being targeted actually, and Brett's icon thing to Rockstar, and the whole birthday fight fiasco. How could week 5, which was an insane week of events, where Rachel somehow ended up getting evicted, and of course you got the iconic What's Wrong with Angela line. I could have week 4, I could have week 6, and Bit 20 has so many figures, because I always wanted to put just 1 week on this list for Bit 20 mainly, and week 3 as you already mentions here. So, but in the end, I decided to go week 2, because I think because of the insanity and the craziness of that week, I decided to go week 2, because again, it's a week that shouldn't have been as insane as it is, but I mean, all the thanks to Kaitlyn, who I think is an iconic, despite being a pre-jury player, she's definitely already a member and iconic character, and I wouldn't surprised if it end up getting a second chance season or an return to playing season that we do see her come back, because she just blew up her own game in an instant here, where basically she basically turned on her own alliance again, and friend her relationships with a lot of these players, and to how Casey can really be, and her insaneness, and basically she kind of basically I mean, it started with basically she put up Scotty and Winston, Tyler ends up winning the veto, and it could have been just an easy week, but basically you do get an insane week where basically Kayla's like, with Kayla to put up Swaggy C, one of her closest allies. And it was like, why would you do that? You know Swaggy's loyal to you, right? Like, it's just Kayla's insaneness is what pushes big in the top 10, and the fact that she kind of blew up her own game, and how entertaining she is as a character. And even some nice back and forth between lots of players here and there are also really nice as well. Again, Big Brother 20 had some insane and awesome weeks, so it was definitely debatable which one to prove, but in the end, I decided to just go week 2, honestly. But dude, was any other week could have made this list, could have made that spot, honestly, but in the end, because of the insaneness and Kayla being an iconic character, I decided to go week 2. Now we're in the top 3 people, and coming in at number 3, we have week 3 from Big Brother 24. Yes, the week that pretty much changed this season for the better. Because, again, Big Brother 20, I think all Big Brother 24 had probably one of the worst starts to any season of the show. Because a lot of them, because Taylor got treated bullied and got treated terribly. Not just because she was black, because the notion of her being a beauty pageant, being in beauty pageants and everything. So that was like, hey, Taylor's a bad person. She's flirting, and she's sneaky, she's manipulative, she's awful, she's evil. And for some reason, everyone believed it. Everyone believed it. I don't know why. And it's been that she could have easily been the first one evicted. Now the Plum decided to leave, and to be honest, if she would be evicted, the terrible twist in that portion of the season, she probably would have still stayed anyway. Which, even if she was evicted, it wasn't really anything that she really did. And therefore, she did get stayed in week 2, honestly, because Pooch being Pooch. But in week 3, like, again, this is another week where it easily could have been a terrible week. Where it easily could have honestly been one of the worst weeks in the show's history, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's a total end of way HRH. You got that terrible 50-50 twist. You got Taylor trying to be nice to Nicole and trying to help her through a tough time. But then Nicole took it the wrong way for some reason. Informed Daniel. Daniel blew up at her because he got the un-iconic line, I will never forget what you did to Paloma. Basically, Taylor was the reason that Paloma left. I mean, it made me feel so bad for Taylor because she didn't do anything wrong here. Like, she was just trying to be a friend and kind and like Tails one of the most likable people to ever be on the show, and of course you also get the iconic Lays line as well. But except for that, like there's really nothing fun about that moment. And I think that Tails could have just been an easy boot, and that could have really like put down the season and could have seen like a mirror Daniel Nicole pretty much steamroll to the end, which normally is a Mon Big Brother season would happen, honestly, because that's always been the issue with Mon Big Brother is people are just steamrolling and not really making any big moves. I mean, Bear with All Stars 2 proved that you can easily break the game, but doesn't make it one of the most interesting TV. And people are just, for some reason, too chicken or too afraid to go against the opposition. But thankfully, that's what happened this season, where just on his birthday, it was like, maybe Taylor's not as bad as you think she is. I don't think I see any reason why Taylor has been a bad person. And so you see he, Kyle, Michael, Monty, and it was like, yeah, Taylor's up. Turner was like, yeah, Taylor's not a bad person. Let's bring her into Slides for the Leftovers, and let's make a big move by putting up a mirror in Terrence. Get out of a mirror. Which, that's what happens. And it's really we see stuff like that in Mon Big Brother, and the fact that it actually happened in this season alone was like, yes. So I mean, anytime that you also do get some fun character moments as well, some nice back and forth, and the assignment actually, again, going against the opposition and Turner's basically defending Taylor when he was nominated them, like, it's just good to see a way where people actually are, playing the game. Which makes it so refreshing. And while of course it didn't reach those heights, at least it wasn't like just a flat steamroll around most of the season. So yeah, this was a fantastic week for a season, and really proves that hey, if you actually make big moves, you can make some exciting TV. Now I'm gonna top the people. Now I definitely debate on what we should be on the list. Honestly, I think my top 2 would probably pretty definitive, for being honest, but I definitely debated back and forth on what was going to be number 1, number 2, honestly, because I think these 2 weeks are 2 of the best weeks in the history of Big Brother, and some of the best moments, not just of the show's history, but of all reality television. So, well, I think one has probably the best true moment of Big Brother. One week has the absolute best move ever from Big Brother, so it's definitely a debate which one I should do, honestly. So it's just by a little bit. It's not a case where it's pretty much a razor thin difference, to be honest. So I'm not curious why number 2 could be number 1, but number 2 at 1 point. So, but anyways, coming in number 2, we have week 7 from Big Brother 14. As I mentioned, again, this week has the best move that's ever been put on Big Brother with Dan's funeral. And I don't think I need to say why that move is so great. But basically, Dan was in trouble. He was actually probably ended up being the boot in this episode. Because he got solved like 524 hours, he decided to plan this out to basically a big funeral thing to basically try to lie, manipulate, and convince Frank and a lot of people, his rival from the very beginning, to actually trust and work with him. And the fact he was able to do that was incredible TV, and that he got Jen to use the veto on Dan, and also put up Brittany and blindside Brittany. All that stuff, it's so exciting and memorable to watch. See Dan at the bottom, possibly actually getting evicted, to pull a rabbit out of his hat, and he was able to manipulate pretty much everybody in that house to basically do what he wanted to do, and to basically not him end up, to basically, as long as it wasn't him being the target, he didn't care. And this is what makes Dan such a compelling character and a compelling play. Again, he could be the best player of Big Brother for a goddamn reason. And that pretty much holds true here. That he was able to actually pull all that off in the first place is incredible. And that alone puts this week at number 2, honestly. Again, I was still between this and my number 1, but now we get to what I think is the best week of Big Brother, and of course it is from my favorite Big Brother US season, of course, and that is, you guys probably guessed it, it's week 4 from Big Brother 10. Keisha's birthday. the week where basically had the Keisha birthday moment. Like I said, well, last week I mentioned had the best move. Keisha's birthday is obviously the best moment in Big Brother history, and obviously there's no contest on that because the crazy fights, the crazy up and down that happened, all because Jesse being Jesse and everything, and doing this and that, and you get so many yelling and screaming, and it kind of pulled out a little bit, but basically it's also happy birthday to Keisha, and then the fight continues, like it's freaking insane. Happens and of course you get in crazy thing where basically Dan wins America's Player this week, and tries to Vince able to approach Jesse and trying to get Jesse to hug him for 10 seconds, which is insane. And the week where basically America was basically involved because Dan was basically just swing vote to see if the victory of Memphis or Jesse, and it led to Jesse being evicted. So yeah, I don't think I need to say why week 4 of Big Brother 10 that might be the best week in the history of Big Brother. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed me discussing Big Brother and talking about my 10 favorite weeks from Big Brother US. I would love to know down below in the comment section what are your thoughts on this video. What are your personal favorite weeks of the show? I would definitely love to know down below. And eventually I do plan to do one on Big Brother Canada at some point, and maybe I might do also worst week in general Big Brother if you guys want me to do that. I have a few ideas for Big Brother content coming very soon, and also our content in general, so stay tuned for that. And I also have other Big Brother videos if you want to see. I did do a season ranking, and I also did a tier list on the winners, the runners up, and the final jurors, and I might do a 4-place one very soon, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sam, and I also have a little bit in customs down the description. You guys want to see any certain videos you want to see me do down the road. I am Sam, World of Sam Productions. I will see you next time. As always, stay cool, everybody. Peace.